Good day, everyone. So we're going to tackle about the kinds of obligations and secondary classification of obligation under the Civil Code. So we are the reporters for today. My name is Dennis Renada, and with my companion, Shalami Roya and Maria Nicole Sumido. So the table of content, unilateral and bilateral obligation, real and personal obligation, determinate and generic obligation, civil and natural obligation, and the last is legal and conventional and penal obligation. Unilateral versus bilateral obligation. When you say unilateral obligation, it exists when only one party has a duty to perform, while the other party only has the right to demand. So the word unilateral comes from uni or one and lateral is side. So unilateral means it's one-sided. So it's used when only one person, group, or country makes a decision, action, or agreement without the involvement, consent, or participation of others. For example, si Mr. X ay nangakong mag-donate ng school supplies sa isang public school. So siya ang may obligation na magbigay. So ang paaralan ay may karabatang tumanggap sa donation ni Mr. X. Next, bilateral obligation. It exists when both parties are mutually bounded to perform. This may be reciprocal obligation under the Article 1191. So where each party's performance depends on the other. And if a one fails, the other may be choose between fulfillment or rescission with damages. So the bilateral is a two-sided or a multilateral many-sided. So where decisions are made together through cooperation or agreement. So bilateral obligation may be reciprocal or non-reciprocal. So when we say reciprocal obligation is a mutual duties each party owes and its own performance often simultaneous and dependent on the other. For example, si Mr. X ay nagbenta ng bigas kay Mr. Y. So obligasyon ni Mr. X na ihatid ang bigas ni Mr. Y. So ang obligasyon naman ni Mr. Y ay magbayad ng binili niyang bigas kay Mr. X. Sa non-reciprocal obligation, only one party has the duty to perform, independent of many performance by other party. So sa non-reciprocal obligation, both have obligation but not dependent on each other. Kumbaga, parehas silang may obligasyon pero iba-iba ang way or papatunguhan ng kanilang obligation. For example, si Maria ay may obligasyon na magtanim ng puno sa bakuran ni Jose. So habang si naman ay may obligasyon din na ipahiram ang kanyang motor kay Maria sa ibang araw. So hindi sila sabay na ginawa pero pareho silang may obligasyon. Next reporter is Ms. Maria Sumido.
So, good day everyone. I am Maria Nicole Sumido and I'm going to discuss the real and personal obligation. So, a real obligation is an obligation to give something, meaning the debtor has to deliver a determinate or generic thing to the creditor and take care of it until delivery, including its accessories and benefits. If ever the debtor's delays and something happens like damage, accidents, loss, or anything else, still, he will be the responsible even if it was caused by an unexpected event. On the other hand, a personal obligation is an obligation to do or not to do something. If the obligation is to do something like painting a house and the debtor fails to perform the work, the creditor may have the work done by someone else and charge the debtor for the expense. And if the obligation is not to do something, like not building on a certain land, but the debtor still violates it, then what was done can be undone at his expense, such as demolishing the structure. So in short, the difference between the two is that a real obligation refers to the duty of giving or delivering a thing, while a personal obligation refers to performing an act or refraining from an act. Next. Now let's proceed to two kinds of personal obligations. So we have two kinds of personal obligations. So the first one is the positive personal obligation. It is when the debtor must do something or render a service for the creditor. Like for example, building a house. If the person doesn't do the work, the creditor can hire someone else to do it and the debtor will be the one to pay the cost. While in negative personal obligation, the debtor must not to do something. Gaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, sa personal obligation, meron siyang dalawang which is yung to do and not to do. So for the negative personal obligation, dito pumapasok yung not to do. So for example, yung example ko kanina na magtatayo sila sa isang lote ng building, 'di ba sinabi na nga ng creditor na bawal magtayo ng building doon, pero sinuway pa rin nila. So ang mangyayari, mapipilitan na ipaalis yon and sila pa rin yung magbabayad ng expenses para lang maalis yung building na tinayo nila doon. That's all po. Next reporter, Michelle Arroyo.
Good day, everyone. I'm the next reporter. My name is Sheila Arroyo. So I will discuss the determinate and generic obligation. So determinate thing is individually identified and can be distinguished from all others of the same kind. Since it is unique, the creditor has the right to demand that exact thing and no substitute. If the debtor delays or carelessly handles it, or even promises it to multiple persons, the debtor becomes liable even for unexpected or unavoidable events like accidents or natural disasters. So this is because the debtor had a duty to preserve and deliver the exact thing. So example, Nando owes the car with plate number TLC 153. So this is a determinate thing because it refers to a specific identified car. So if Pedro refuses to deliver or delays and later the car is destroyed in a flood, Pedro is still liable to Juan because he failed to deliver when he should have. So in genetic thing, it is not unique. It only refers to a kind, class, or group of things. So the creditor cannot demand a specific item, only the debtor delivers something that meets the description. In case of loss or destruction, the debtor is still obliged to deliver since a genus never perishes, meaning there will always be other items of the same kind. So, ang example nito is Nando owes Dolfo a sack of rice. This is generic because any sack of rice that meets the agreed quality or quantity is acceptable. Even if the sack Pedro initially set aside was destroyed in fire, he must still deliver another sack of the rice since rice as a genus cannot completely perish. Next slide po. Duties of debtor in obligation to give a determinate thing. First, preserve the thing. In obligation to give real obligations, the obligor has the incidental duty to take care of the thing diligence of good father of a family pending delivery. Diligence of a good father of a family. The phrase has been equated with ordinary care or the kind of diligence a prudent and responsible person will use in taking care of their own property. Another standard of care. If the law of stipulation of the parties provides for another standard of care, slight or extraordinary diligence, said law or stipulation must prevail based on Article 1163. Factors to be considered. The diligence required necessarily depends upon the nature of the obligation and corresponds with the circumstances of the person, of the time, and of the place, based on Article 1173. Last, reasons for debtor's obligation. It is to ensure that the creditor will receive the exact thing agreed upon in good condition, not damaged or neglected. Second duties is deliver the fruits of the thing. This is discussed under Article 1164. The creditor has a right to the fruit of the thing from that time the obligation to deliver it arises. However, he shall acquire no real right over it until the same has been delivered to him. The fruit mentioned by the refers to natural, industrial, and civil fruits. Next slide. Ay, pwede po pabalik. Third, deliver the accessions and accessories. This is discussed under Article 1166. The obligation to give a determinate thing includes that of delivering all its accessions and accessories even though they may not have been mentioned. Accession means addition to or improvement upon the principal thing. Example, house built on the land, trees, natural increases. While accessory mean things intended for use with principal thing. Example, case to a house, spare tire of a car. Fourth, deliver the thing itself. Article 1163, 1233, 1244 as to kinds of delivery, see Articles 1497 to 1501. The debtors must actually deliver the specific thing agreed upon, not a substitute or unless the creditor agrees. Delivery can be real or constructive legal acts that transfer control like handing over the keys, executing a public document, or marking goods for shipment. Last, answer for damages in case of non-fulfillment or breach. This is discussed under Article 1170. Next slide. So here is the duties of debtors and an obligation to give a generic or indeterminate thing based on the civil code. So first is to deliver a thing of the quality intended by the parties taking into consideration the purpose. So since the thing is generic, the debtor is not bound to deliver any specific item, but the one delivered must be of the quality agreed upon. If there is no express agreement, the law says it should be of average quality, not the worst, not necessarily, and best. So the purpose of the obligation and surrounding circumstances are also considered in determining what is acceptable. So here is the example. Lando owes Dolfo 1 sack of rice. If they agreed on premium rice, Lando cannot deliver ordinary rice. So if no specific type was agreed upon, Pedro cannot choose the protest quality rice just to fulfill the obligation. He must deliver rice of reasonable average quality. Next is the to be liable for damages in case of fraud, negligence, or delay in the performance of his obligation or contravention of the tenor thereof, Article 1170. Even though a generic thing is never lost, the debtor can still liable if he delays deliver, he acts fraudulently, he is negligent in complying with the obligation, he contravenes the terms of the agreement. Example, Lando owes Dolfo 10 sacks of rice to be delivered on September 1. If Lando delays until December and the price of rice has doubled, he must still deliver the rice plus pay damages for that delay. If Lando promised 10 sacks of premium rice but delivers spoiled rice, he also violates the obligation and is liable. And if he intentionally refuses to deliver despite having the means, that's fraud, making him liable for damages. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Royal. So we're gonna tackle the civil versus natural. So in Article 1, 4, 2, 3, obligation are civil or natural. Civil obligation give a right of action in courts of justice. Natural obligation not being based on a positive law, but on equity and natural law. Do not grant a right of action to enforce their performance, but after voluntary fulfillment by the obligor. They authorize the retention of what has been delivered or rendered by reason thereof. So some natural obligations are set forth in the following articles. So when we say civil obligation, that is enforceable by a law. So if the debtor or fails to comply, the creditor can go to the court to demand the performance. For example, si Mr. X ay umutang ng 5,000 kay Mr. Y. So kapag hindi siya nagbayad, pwedeng inimanda ni Mr. Y si Mr. X sa korte. And that is the civil. So court enforceable. So when you say natural obligation naman, it is not enforceable in court. So base is on justice, equity, and a moral duty. So if the debtor voluntarily performs it, so that the creditor can keep what is delivered and the debtor cannot take it back. For example, si Maria ay may utang kay Ana pero nag-prescribe na hindi niya pwedeng idemanda kasi it's a lot of time na lumipas. So kahit hindi na siya obligadong magbayad sa korte, kung kusang magbayad si Maria, uh, rather, ni Ana, si Maria, si Ana, ay hindi niya pwedeng bawiin ang pera. So that is not enforceable but binding and voluntary done. So that is the main difference of civil and natural. Civil must pay due and court will force you. When say natural, should pay due a consent only and voluntary. Next, Ms. Sumilo.
So for the legal, conventional, and penal obligation, a legal obligation is an obligation that comes directly from the law. People must follow it whether they agree or not. So in Article 1157, obligations can come from 5 sources: the law, contracts, quasi-contracts, acts or omissions punished by law, and quasi-delicts. So the legal obligation is aligned to Article 1157 because it says obligation may come from the law. For example, paying taxes. So, 'di ba, it is an obligation that comes from the law. While for signing a list naman of agreement, it is an obligation that comes from a contract. Next, a conventional obligations comes from contracts or agreement made by people. Once two-party agree on something valid, it becomes binding like law between them. So in Article 115 naman, it explained that obligations from contracts are as strong as law between the parties. So for example, if you sign a contract to rent an apartment, you must pay rent and the landlord must provide the place. So contracts have the force of law between parties. And lastly, a penal obligation arises when someone violates the law and is punished with a penalty or fine. This is meant to discipline or deter people from breaking the law. So in Article 1161, it refers to penal obligations, which arise when someone violates the law. For instance, if a person drives without a license, he may be required to pay a fine. So this obligation is a form of punishment and serve as a warning to others. That's all.
And now, this is our conclusions of our topics, the kinds of obligations. So, a unilateral obligation, it occurs when just one person has a duty. But a bilateral obligation occurs when both people have duties. So whether they rely on each other. The real responsibilities entails contributing something, whereas personal duties, it entails performing or failing to perform an act for which the individual is held accountable. A determinate thing is a specific item, whereas a generic thing is simply a type or a group, and both must be handled with care, including its fruits and accessories. Lastly, obligation can be civil, natural, legal, conventional, or penal, depending on where they come from and their purpose.
All right, and now let's begin the question and answer. So the first one to answer is Mr. Cerneda. So here is your question. How does artificial intelligence assist in your group, and what challenges did you feel while using it, and how did you overcome them?
Our group overcome the challenges that we face using AI. So AI was helpful for our group by providing us with instant access to information and assisting us in a better organizing our ideas. So the difficulty or the challenges, it was we relied too much heavily on it, which occasionally limited our creativity. As we overcome this by combining AI assistance with our own critical thinking, it is resulting in a work that was both creative and authentic. That's all.
Now for the next question for Miss Shella Royo. If you had to choose between real and personal obligation as the most significant, which would you choose and why?
So if I had to choose between real and personal obligation as the most significant, I will choose personal obligation because it is the obligation to do or not to do. A duty or responsibility that comes from who you are as a person. So it is something you are expected to do because of your rule, promise, or relationship with others. Even though material things are important, what really matters are our actions and decisions. Fulfilling personal obligation helps us build good relationships, care for others, and create a lasting impact that goes beyond just giving material things. That's all.
Thank you so much, Ms. Royal. And now the last question is for Ms. Sumito. So this is the question for you. If you were to inspire others, how would you explain a civil obligation?
So, a civil obligation is one that the law enforces. It reminds us that justice is not only about promises but about ensuring fairness through accountability. So it means when we make agreements or have duties, the law makes sure we do our part. And this teaches us responsibility and, of course, respect for other people. And that trust is protected by rules that keep everyone equal. It is also shows that our actions affect other people, so we must be careful and honest with what we do. And also, civil obligation guide us to live in harmony, to value fairness, and to remember that keeping our world builds stronger communities. That's all.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sumito, for wonderful um, answers. And uh, thank you very much for your attending for us. And I hope that you'll learn you something of the kinds of obligations. And that's all for this day. And I hope you will enjoy. Thank you so much.